welcome back to another video. And I'm going to tell you about my day today. First, we went and cut down a Christmas tree at my mom's boyfriend up at Dixon. He has a Christmas tree area close to his house. Then on the way back, I stopped in Ohio, which is on the way through, and stopped at my stepfather's grave to pay my respects. It's holiday season, and I've been thinking about him a lot, and I miss him dearly. And I've been thinking about my dad, that it's no longer with us, who I wished would have been more of a father to me. My father was an alcoholic, and sometimes I think he loved his alcohol more than he loved me. My stepfather, he was amazing. He was an amazing man. He gave me so much. He worked 3 jobs. He would go days at a time without sleep just to make enough money to support me and my sister and my brother. He was amazing to my mom, who accepted her even with a special needs child, which is my brother, who is in a wheelchair because he has cerebral palsy. And he accepted him no problems. And 8 years ago, first he was diagnosed with lung cancer, which he beat. Then 8 years ago, he was diagnosed with esophageal cancer. And he went through a surgery, which they removed part of his esophagus. And they had to move his stomach up. And I don't know if it was his way of coping, but after that, he was just never the same again. It was like most of the time, he didn't know what was going on. And then after that, my mom was still working, so when my mom was at work, I would stay out at the house with him. And I would take him to his chemo appointments. And he had a feeding tube. And I would keep that clean, clean that up, and change the bandages. And I would just look after him. And at that time, he was doing 2 different kinds of chemo. One that he did at the hospital, and then one that was a pack that he wore home for 24 hours. So he was getting some pretty strong doses of chemo. And he went through all that, and then he had some tests done, and I found more stuff in his esophagus, and at first they thought that it was just scar tissue from the surgery. But it wasn't. The cancer had come back. And it was at that time that they had told him that there was nothing more they could do for him. And that he only had 2 months to live. And that in itself was a tough pill to swallow. But we got to have Father's Day with him. And a week after he saw the doctor, but he had talked the night before, he had talked to my mom and his sister, my aunt, about all the arrangements that he wanted done. And I guess he felt at peace, because by the next day he was starting to let go. He didn't open his eyes all day, except for when the minister came to see him. I think that was the only time he opened his eyes all day. People came to see him knowing that, he was going, and then That night on June 24th, I was sitting in the living room. He was in the living room in a hospital bed in our old house. And I was sitting in the living room. My mom was sitting at his bedside. And my stepsister and her husband were there on the couch next to his bed. My uncle was on the other couch. And myself was sitting on the floor. I was sitting on the floor. That's when we noticed that his breathing started to get more shallow. So my mom started calling people to come over because she knew he was going. And at about 11 o'clock that night, he took his last breath with us there. And of course, everybody was crying. I was crying. Because, seeing that firsthand and seeing what it does to somebody. And I'm going to share something with you because you are my supporters. I take anti-anxiety medicine because I had such high anxiety. I used to always think something was wrong with me or that I had cancer or something like that because of what I've seen. And my aunt, she has had lung cancer, but she survived. And it just seems like so many people today are getting it. And I want to give a shout out to Chelsea Ann, who I met on live stream, who has been battling leukemia for 5 years. She's an amazing, strong girl, and I hope to God she beats it. And then I watched a tribute video that my best friend and little brother, that I consider my little brother, Mitchell Eliachuk, had done on his channel, Mitchell Reacts, to Angry Grandpa. And that was hard to watch because it was hard to see him crying. And it makes me realize that I feel the same way about him that he felt about Angry Grandpa. Like, I feel like I know him. I know so much about him. I know that he hates tomatoes, that he hates cucumbers. I know that he hates roller coasters. I know that he doesn't have a mean bone in his body. I know that we're both Geminis. Our birthdays are 2 weeks apart. And I just know that he's an amazing person. And I don't know if God brought me to him for a reason. It's almost like he's my guardian angel. And somehow God wanted us to communicate with each other. He lives in Canada. I live in Princeton, Illinois. And I hope I can meet him someday. There's some amazing people in Canada. He had an amazing girlfriend who's now a friend at the moment, Mara Morris. Which I won't get into any of that because he wants to keep it personal, and I'm going to respect that. But Mara, she's a pretty amazing person too, and she's so beautiful and smart, and she seems so kind and nice and funny. And I don't think he could have picked anyone better, except me, of course. But I'm also almost 20 years older than him, so I don't think he would date someone my age, but was just so sweet and so kind and so gentle, and all this emotion these last few days has made me really realize how short life is and how important it is to tell people that we love them. So I'm not letting a day go by that I don't tell Mitchell how much I love him or a video, because I feel like he is my savior and God sent him to me for a reason. And he became my friend. At least I hope he still wants to be my friend. He wants to be my friend. He's like a little brother to me. He's my family, and I would protect him with everything I had. And I would give my life to protect him. I would give my life to protect my niece and my family, to protect all my family, and that includes Mitchell. I would give my life to save his. That's how much he means to me. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I love him so very much. He will always have a special place in my heart. And I mean it. I would give my life for him. He has changed my life in ways he'll never know. And I will always be grateful for that, and I can never repay him enough. But I know if I could, and if I had to, I would repay him with my life. Because my life without him, I don't know, I can't imagine what my life would be like now that he's in it, what it would be like if he never had been. I'm so much happier because of him. Thank you, Mitchell, for everything you've done. And you got one loyal son of a Mitch here. And just remember, guys, cherish your loved ones. And then I came home to finish my day out. We had supper, watched a movie, Coraline. I watched Mitchell's video, which inspired me to make this video. And that's about it. And I just want to say I love you guys. Thank you so much for your support. And anyone who supports my channel, Shannon Kinsley, subscribe, hit the notification button. Subscribe to Mitchell Reacts, hit his notification button. Support me, support Mitchell. If anybody could ask me what I wanted the most this year for Christmas, besides having my loved ones back, it would be that everybody out there is happy and that they have a Merry Christmas. And I want Mitchell to be happy. That's what I want for Christmas. Mitchell's happiness. My family's happiness. Everybody's happiness. Because when I see the people I love cry, it makes me cry too. Because it breaks my heart to see their heart broken, and all I want to do is give them a great big old hug. And since Mitchell and I live so far away, it'll have to be virtual hugs. And he knows if he ever needs to talk, he can Skype me, or call me, or whatever he needs. I'm here. Well, that's it for this week's video, or for this video. Make sure you check out our channels. Make sure you leave a like on this video. You can comment down below what you think of my video. And I will see you next time. Peace.